Hi guys, welcome back to GTR 2 and round 9 of the 1993 British Touring Car Championship from Silverstone, the second Grand Prix support weekend this season, the first of course being the European Grand Prix at Donington Park at the beginning of the season. Of course Ayrton Senna won that one, and now we are at the British Grand Prix support weekend at the original and the greatest Silverstone layout in the last 10 years or so. So yeah, after our good performance at good old Pembury, we're hoping to capitalise on that at Silverstone, but unfortunately didn't do so well in qualifying, so we're going to have a bit of a struggle on our hands. I'm also none too familiar with the Grand Prix layout, not the best, so we'll see how we get on anyway, and we might get a good couple of points, who knows. We're still leading the Privateers Championship by quite a comfortable margin, so we hopefully won't lose too many points, or we might actually gain some, who knows. Anyway, enough babbling, let's join Fuhr and Kazan, as always, for the grid walk for round 9 of the 1993 British Touring Car Championship and the Grand Prix weekend support race.
Welcome to round 9 of the 1993 British Touring Car Championship. Pole position today, Steve Soper leading a familiar sight, a BMW lockout from Jochen Winkelhock. Both cars almost a second clear of the next row of the grid. Alain Menu, who's been best of the rest all too often this season, and Jeff Allen having a season-best qualifying for the Dave Cook Vauxhall team. A very good qualifying for Ian Flux in the Roy Kennedy Racing Peugeot, as he's joined by John Cleland on row 3. Row 4, Kiev Odor, first Nissan, and Tim Harvey in the second Renault, followed up by Harry Nuttall and Rob Gravitt. It's then Eugene O'Brien, barely 100th behind Rob in the other Peugeot, followed up by Tiff Needell in the Nissan Primera. David Leslie's uneven season continues, with him starting 13th alongside Win Percy's Nissan. Patrick Watts is next in the Mazda Racing Team Mazda Jados, followed up by Will Hoy in the Securicore Toyota. Bobby Burden-Rowe and James Kay are next in both the Park Lane Toyota Junior cars, and then it's the fourth Toyota, Julian Bailey, on row 10. The new Ford Mondeos look like they're struggling for pace. Paul Radicic, followed up by Andy Rouse, with Ian Ashley, the top one of the Maxford Vauxhalls, on row 11. Row 12, we've got Dan Bartlett in the Toyota Carina, Alex Portman in the BMW, Ian Kahn and Matthew Neal on row 13. Row 14, you've got Bob Berridge in the Ford Sierra Sapphire, and Ray Belm. And the final row of the grid, 30 cars in all, Dave Pinkney, and bringing up the rear is Ian Cantwell in the Asquith Autosport with Abbey and Abacus Mazda 323F.
Awesome, thank you Fury, as always, for the grid walk. So a massive field of cars, 30 in total, ready for the start of round 9. A couple of things I'd like to go over though before we do get started. I don't use force feedback on my steering wheel, purely because at the desk the wheel is on is very, very flimsy. So if I actually had force feedback enabled, it would shake the desk to pieces. So all I've done is increase the centering spring of the steering wheel to 20%, which makes the steering wheel feel a lot more firmer than it usually does. Before it was very, very loose, you know, it had no, it didn't feel like it had any, you know, resistance at all. But I've increased the centering spring, so you probably might hear a bit of the gears whirring in the background, but that's absolutely fine. As always, I'm using the gear shifter, and the thing I might try doing for future episodes, for the rest of the series, is would anyone be interested in seeing a wheel cam? So you can actually see me, you know, racing with the steering wheel and that lot as a little box on the corner. I don't know. Let me know what you think. So yeah, here we go. And the lights are going to be coming on. Revs rise, and round 9 of the 1993 Touring Car Championship is underway. Oh, and a very poor start for us. 15 laps ahead of us on the long Grand Prix circuit. Oh, and that's Andy Rice just getting a bit bottlenecked. Oh, and someone's gone into the barrier. That's one of the, what's it, Dynamics BMWs. And we've lost 2 positions at the very start, but that's absolutely fine as we head through this lovely flowing complex. Oh, and someone's knackered someone's bumper. Everyone is going to be pretty feisty for the very start, so I'm just hanging back a little bit before I start pushing. Of course, the tyres are cold, so that's another reason why to hang back just a little tiny bit. Steve Soper, though, gets a great start, leading the way from Jochen Winkelhock. Oh, and just locking the front end just a smidge. Now this corner can be a bit on the tricky side. You have to downshift so early just to get it round. Oh, and one of Dynamics cars, bloody hell, Ray Belm gets a massive run on the inside, but I get the undercuts, go up the inside of him. And now we have the lovely sounding Ford Mondeos ahead as well of Andy Rouse. And Paul Radicic moves up to 20th position. Okay, so far so good. I'm happy with the progress so far. We've only lost one position from the start. I just want to get past the smaller group of cars. I think I'm going to have a word with Fury regarding the performance of the Ford Mondeos. They seem to be a bit slow. If I recall, they were a little bit faster than they are. And some of the AIW filters as well. If the car is damaged, it will slow right down coming out of... is it Cops? I can't remember. That corner back there. You know the one. They go very slow and then they just stop in the middle of the circuit. And yeah, before they head into the pits. So a few little issues with the AIW files that needs to be ironed out a little tiny bit. What else? What else? Yeah, going back to the Ford Mondeos, they do need to be ramped up a little bit when it comes to the pace, because they're right near the bottom of the pack. I think they're about as fast as the independent cars, which is not what they should be. But oh well, not to worry. And we're in 6th gear. It's like one of the very few times we've used 6th gear this season. Lovely. So Bobby Verdenroe is in the pits. I still need to get the braking line down on this corner here. One thing that would have been nice with the plug-in, because I'm using an XD plug-in for the map and of course the standings on the side and everything else. It would have been nice if they actually had the corner names on the little track map in the bottom corner, because it would have been easier for me to actually learn the track names, because I am utterly useless. I know this is Bridge Corner and you got Cops and whatever it is, and the Flowing Corners, which I can't remember for the life of me, and then you got Woodcote, which is the corner just before the start-finish straight. The old start-finish straight, the best start-finish straight. I'm going to be probably, well, not at the moment. Because we are halfway through the season, I will be looking at making a mock-up of next season's schedule. Or schedule, however you pronounce it. I always pronounce it schedule. Because I'm British, innit? Innit, bruv. Yeah, man. So we're in 21st place, so we've moved up one position since the start of the race. And I take it very cautiously through here. Usually put it down to 3rd gear here, but I keep it in 4th because I just use the grunt of the engine to get me through, and we have Matthew Neal coming up behind, so I forget to put it in 5th. Andy Rouse is also in the pits. Yeah, I brake way too early for this corner. Sometimes I go pretty wide. Oh. And I get a lot of understeer as well when I'm accelerating on these slow corners. So that can cause a bit of a hassle. Not losing too much time at the moment. But we're doing our best. And the rear end just getting a little bit loose on us on that one. Matt Neal's coming right up. Should be able to hold him off coming through this complex though. Oh, and that's what I mean, the rear end comes out. Just put your foot in, get it back around. And both the Dynamics cars unfortunately go past Alex Portman and Matt Neal. Luckily for us, Ian Cantwell is quite far back. I think this track is using a bit of a weird lighting engine because the rear view mirrors look very, very dark, and going under that bridge you get like a sensation that there's flood lighting, so I think there's a bit of a issue with the track lighting of this one. Ooh, barrel up the inside. We're back down to where we started in 22nd place. Yeah, my driving might be pretty abysmal, but again, I'm just not used to this circuit, not very well anyway. It's alright, we take the position back from Matt Neal. Oh, and again, that understeer. They've lost a lot of time now. We're 8.5 seconds behind Paul Radicic in the Mondeo. Getting some words of encouragement from Squishy. As we start lap number 5. And so far everyone is keeping it clean. We've had no retirement so far. Yeah, I do take that complex a little slower than I would like to, but the rear end of the car does like to step out quite a bit, so I just take it more steady than usual. Whack it down into 4th, try and get a good enough line if the understeer doesn't take us. And here, oh, locking the brakes. Oh. You do want to get a wide exit on that one, just not that wide. Also, you guys, people who watch this series, who enjoy this series, what would you like to see added or included for maybe later races in the year, as we just destroy some marker poles, or maybe next year I could add a few more things. I don't know, give me your suggestions, what you think would make this series even better, because I would like to improve the series. There's a lot of aspects that I could do to you know, make it a lot better and stuff like that. Like the grid, I've added some little details like the qualifying lap times and like the car information. So you had the Schnitzer BMW team and stuff like that. Well, I don't know, any little details you would like me to add into the videos or whatever, let me know, and I will do my absolute best. I'm just plodding along at the moment. Need to get a better feel of the circuit. It seems like we're catching up to some of the other back markers. Ian Ashley, though, has pulled out a 10-second gap to us, so it looks like he's going to be winning the Privateer's Trophy for this race. And another thing as well, because I like to make these series as authentic as possible. Yeah, I know it's weird. I should have really started out as like 1990 and then worked my way up. Because next year is 1994, I've already looked through some footage of the 1994 British Touring Car Championship and found the grid scroll graphics that they used back then. So I've already started making those, because yes, all the graphics that you see on screen, not the ones you see currently, like the timing and all that lot, that's actually from the plugin I use, but like the grid scroll graphics and you know, the end point segments, not the cars, they are owned and copyrighted to BTCC Blueprints. I have permission to use those. But I mean like the graphics around the outside and stuff like that, I create those. I try and make them as authentic as possible to the season. So I have great fun making little graphics like that. So I've already started making the 1994 graphics. And I've already included the dates for some special events coming up as well, like the TOCA Shootout, which is going to be on the 25th of November, and the 2 events that happen at Monza for the Touring Car World Cup. So a lot of stuff to look forward to. So once the British Touring Car Championship is done for this year, there is still races to be had and things to do, places to see. And we have a yellow flag, it seems. Oh, someone's lost a bumper. And everyone has gone to a crawl. Someone's probably gone into the pits. And that's what I mean. When they go into the pits, they come out of the corner and they become stationary in the middle of the track, going at a snail's pace, and it just bottlenecks everyone. So you've gained 1 position. Tim Harvey in the Renault is in the pits. And you can hear the engine of the Ford Mondeo. Actually, I'm just going to shut my mouth so you can listen to the engine of the Mondeo. Well, granted you can't hear him that well, but it does sound very, very nice. Oh! Oh. Yeah, this corner is a bit of a doozy. It does catch me out more often than not. And seeing as we're halfway through the season as well, you know, we're starting to get into the movers and shakers for next year. People are signing contracts and gonna be looking forward to bigger and brighter things, and I will be doing the same. At the moment I am team owner, so the independent privateer team of the Toyota Carina is coming out of my own pocket, And because of my lackluster performances in some races where I have a lot of body damage in paying staff members, my mechanics, and this, that, and the other, I can't afford to do it for next year. So I'm actually in talks with a works team. So I'm either going to become a works driver or a semi-works driver and be a third team member on a certain team for next year. Because, you know, I like to do this as like a role-play kind of series where I work my way up through the ranks, and one day I will become British Touring Car Champion. And that is, you know, that was the whole purpose of doing this series like last year back on Race 07. Started off in a little crummy Peugeot 405. Then I moved up and got this lovely Toyota Carina. And next year, in talks with a works team. So, yeah. That'll be something else to look forward to. Nothing is set in concrete at the moment, but yeah, all details will be given to you as soon as I figured out what to do. And I'll probably end up releasing the provisional schedule for next year. Probably next race, because it's a double header next time at Knockhill. So we're all going to be heading to Scotland. And I really have to start locking up my brakes. And what else? What else can I talk about while we're struggling to keep up with Ian Ashley? Yeah, I'm hoping to do like a season review at the end of the season. That's why I've been saving some replay footage from the past races. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a knobhead, and I completely forgot to save the replay footage that I use for Pembrey. So, if I do a season review, I won't be able to actually show any Pembrey footage, because I'm an idiot. But oh well. I may not, though, I don't know. Hello, Mr. Ashley, I'm coming to get you. Oh, I will say this. I will not be with Boots Opticians next year. Really, the Boots Opticians is pretty much a joke. The chap who created the livery for my car, Marcano, who is a legend when it comes to skinning cars, he asked me what, you know, I would like as a livery for the car that I'm driving at the moment, and I just said, I don't know, just make it sort of like a 90s, you know, early 90s livery. And I was thinking back to what TV adverts were back on in the 90s. And one of them in particular was Boots Opticians, so I thought, well, I wear glasses, let's have Boots Opticians covering the side of the car. And that was it. Even though I don't go to Boots Opticians, I go to Specsavers because they're better. So yeah, but next year I will be in partnership with Unipart. Oh, and we have an incident. Eugene O'Brien has had a coming together with someone, and he is stationary on the circuit. So we'll have a gander and see what happened there. Now because of that, Ian Ashley has lost a bit of gumph, so I'm just going to get up the inside of him as I can. Not quite. We have Patrick Watts as well in the Mazda Zados ahead. And then we have Julian Bailey, I believe, in the Securicore Toyota. And what is going on here? Okay, everyone has lost a lot of bodywork, so I'm just going to dive up the inside. So Eugene O'Brien becomes the first retirement of this race. We're behind Wyn Percy in the Nissan Primera. And then we have Will Hoy. Unfortunately, in the actual round 9 race, Will Hoy and Julian Bailey get together in this section. And Bailey comes up the inside, locks his brakes, slides into the side of Will Hoy, and Will Hoy goes for a lovely little rollover. Immediately after, Tim Harvey rolls coming out of Bridge Corner after collecting someone else. Unfortunately, I am able to manipulate which cars start each race to make that as authentic as possible. I can't, however, manipulate what accidents happen and what happens to certain cars. And there's also been a coming together coming out of the Woodcote, it looks like. Again, a slight issue with the AI filtering where they come to a standstill and make everyone ram into the back of each other. But we shall have a look. If there's any retirements, then of course I will show a replay of what happens. If not, then of course I won't bother, because just a bunch of cars going in the pits is pretty pointless, to be honest. But there's a couple of cars in the pits: Ian Ashley, Paul Radicic and Will Hoy, to name a couple. But we are up into 12th position because of that little hoo-ha going on. From what I know, from what Fury's told me, is that he's actually got an updated AI file for this circuit, but because I'm a bit wary about updating a file while I'm actually at the race weekend, I didn't want to actually change it for this race in case it either corrupts the save data or messes with the file. So I will update it after this race, though. Luckily it's only one visit for the Grand Prix circuit this season, but it will be handy when we revisit next year. And I'm looking on the minimap there. I can see there is a car that has stopped on the side of the track somewhere, and it's a bit hard to... Has he stopped? No, he hasn't. No, ignore me, that was just the cars going very slow going through the final complex. But there is a car in the pits, and it is Ray Belm in the Dynamics Beamer. Taking more notice of what's going on a little track map than I am with the race. Everyone is very spread out. Look at this. I am now leading a massive train of cars as we head down the back straight. What else? I've added... Yep, the corner that caught me out before and has now caught me out again. Patrick Watts lucky not to go into me, but that's fine. I have added, was it time-scaled mechanical failures? I didn't have that activated before, but it actually makes it more realistic. So what happens is if you have that turned off or set to normal, your engine won't deteriorate as much through the race. So if you hit the rev limiter, it wouldn't do much damage. However, I've changed it to timescaled now, and the engine does deteriorate through a race, so that would make things more authentic, because back then the attrition rate wasn't the best. You know, cars used to retire with engine failures pretty much all the time, including, you know, Formula 1. Now it's pretty much unheard of. I remember going back some years watching the German Grand Prix, I think it was, at Hockenheim, and of course they used to use that really long layout. And you would be lucky if you would get, say, a quarter of the field finish because of the attrition rate. And the same thing with the British touring cars as well. You would get retirements left, right and centre, cars stranded on the side of the road and what have you. So I've done a couple of tests with that setting on, and it does increase the attrition for the cars. I had a race at, where was it, Knock Hill. I just done a test race at Knock Hill, and 3 cars retired because of engine trouble, and they stayed on the side of the circuit. They didn't just disappear into the pits. And I think it was through, I can't remember the names of the circuit, but it's the names of the corners even. But it was the chicane, fast chicane. There was like a gravel pit on the side coming out of the first Duffers dip. There was a car that was stranded there, and coming out of the final chicane, or the hairpin, there was a car that was stranded in the gravel on the outskirts of that corner as well. So, yeah, they get engine failure and they just pull off. So, hasn't become effective here though. But ho-hum. On the bridge for the penultimate time. And I'm just taking it steady now. We've lost a bit of engine power because I've over-revved a couple of times and not changed gear going down the back straight. So I'm just looking after my engine and my tyres. As we begin the final lap of the British Grand Prix support race. Oh, my tyres. Locking tyres does no good to the degradation. Yeah, our tyres have gone off a bit. We're starting to get a lot of understeer. We have Matt Neal coming up behind in the privateer entry, Team Dynamics. Haha. I didn't mess a corner up this time. Matt Neal was right on our chuff though. He's 1.8 seconds behind. Oh, come on. Sod off, Neal. I don't want what you're peddling, thank you. Slow down, slow down, slow down, come on. Oh, sugar. No, come on. He's taken the lead of the independents. Come on, look, get around, go, go, go. Oh, bugger. Okay, we did have the lead of the independents. Matt Neal has just taken us at the line. And we come home and we finish in 17th position overall. Matt Neal takes the victory of the privateers. Steve Soper takes a victory over Jochen Winkelhock. And John Cleland, the top 3. Jeff Allen finishes in 4th. So it was a damn good finish for the Vauxhall team as well. They've had a lot of bad luck this season. And that is it. That is the race done. Still waiting for Tim Harvey, Bobby Verdenroe and Will Hoy to finish. But while they're doing that, I will head back to the pits and we'll join Josh from the Moaning Yorkshireman for the point standings and race results.
So here are the results after the Silverstone Grand Prix race. It was yet again another BMW Schnitzer 1-2, this time Steve Soper leading home Joachim Winkelhock. A great return to form for the Dave Cook Vauxhalls there, with John Cleland leading home Jeff Allen for 3rd and 4th. Alan Menu takes 5th in the Renault 19, while Keith O'Dore takes 6th in the Nissan Primera. On to the independents now, and it was Matt Neal taking a rare independent win, followed by Dan Bartlett in the Toyota Carina. Alex Portman, the sister BMW to Matt Neal, finishing 3rd, with Ian Cantwell 4th, Ian Kahn 5th, and Bob Berridge in the old Ford Sierra Sapphire taking 6th. On to the manufacturer driver standings now, and it is Joachim Winkelhock with a 20-point lead over teammate Steve Soper. Alan Menu with a further 20 points behind Steve Soper in 3rd in the Renault 19. David Leslie in the Acuria Cos Vauxhall is in 4th with 43 points. John Cleland in 5th in the Dave Cook Vauxhall. And Tim Harvey rounding out the top 6 in the sister Renault 19. And as we go on to the independent point standings now, it is Dan Bartlett with 97 points, a 20-point lead over Ian Ashley in the Vauxhall, followed by Ray Bell, who's closely on the heels of Ian Ashley. Ian Kahn is in 4th with 65 points. Matt Neal now getting the jump on his teammate for 5th place with 59 points after that win, and of course Alex Portman is in 6th. And now on to a new addition for this weekend onwards is of course the Constructors' Points. And as you can see, it is BMW Schnitzer out there in front, 80 points ahead of the Renault team with 90 points. The Acuria Cos Vauxhalls and Dave Cook Vauxhalls are battling hard with 71 and 69 points. And of course the Team Security Core Toyotas and the Nissan team joint on 51 points. So close at the bottom, but at the top it's a runaway for Team Schnitzer.
So another race weekend has come to a close. The teams pack up their things and head off for the next venue, which is going to happen in 3 weeks' time on August the 11th and 12th, as we all head up to Fife in Scotland for the doubleheader at Knockhill. A massive thank you to Josh of the Moaning Yorkshireman for giving me the race results, point standings and the team standings as well. If you have any suggestions, like I mentioned during the race, if you want to see things improved or if you want any additions added, just let me know in the comments and I will do all I can to improve this series as well. So again, I will see you in 3 weeks' time for the next 2 rounds of the championship. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the race. Thank you very much for watching and take care.